Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, James Franco told Howard Stern that Lindsay Lohan stalked him after they made out.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Went through the same thing with Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
But that was a long time ago, though, back when you guys were dating, right?
Well, if you call last week a long time ago, then yes, I guess it was a long time ago.
Oh, no.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you got to get Secret Service to keep her away. It's like,
wow.
Come on.
Any photos, any pictures, a little
get
Snapchat,
a grip,
perhaps?
buddy. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Mike D'Antoni resigns, Andre Blatch throws it away, and the San Jose Sharks, they choke like dogs. But we begin today with a photo and a headline from today's Oklahoman, the hometown newspaper of the Oklahoma City Thunder. The photo is of Kevin Durant, and the headline screams, Mr. Unreliable. This slam at Durant upset Durant's mother, who tweeted, quote, typical Oklahoman on Kevin, unbelievable, unquote. The Oklahoman has apologized for the headline, but not for the accompanying story, which focuses only on the current playoff series with Memphis. Wilbon, Durant said he did not have a problem with the headline, do you?
Yeah, it's over the top. I mean, you and I always talk about context, everything having context. There's a reason the Oklahoman editor apologized, because it was out of context. Yes, the piece, you can talk about unreliable in the Memphis series. The column is not irresponsible, over the top, but the headline is. Oklahoma is not New York City. It's not the New York Post. It's not the Chicago Sun-Times. This is a small community where you need to be responsible. Doesn't mean you cave in, but you need to be responsible. The headline was not.
Honestly, I couldn't disagree more. The guy's the MVP of the league. I'm going to the glasses early because he's a great player and he's a veteran player. He didn't just get in the league yesterday. And look at what he's doing in this series by his standard. He's shooting 40% from the field. This season he shot 50%. Shooting 76% from the line. This season he shot 87%. Shooting 29% from three. This season he shot 39%. And he's averaging 4 less points, and Tony Allen's got him locked up. Mike, he's been unreliable in this series.
He's been in a slump. You know what unreliable is. Unreliable is a personal attack.
No, he's the guy who's got to win it. He's the best player.
That's fine. So say he's in a slump. Say what you mean. You're a journalist and an English major. Say what you mean. He has been Mr. Reliable for that franchise and that community since they moved from Seattle.
And
unreliable and having a bad basketball series are not the same, and you know better.
We talked about this yesterday, and I tried to say that in the context of LeBron, in the context of greatness, LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, when you're on the level that Durant is and you don't do well, you're open to this stuff. Dirk Nowitzki was the MVP of the league. His team lost in the first round. He got buried.
So bury him in basketball terms. Unreliable suggests something else out of the context. It suggests you are irresponsible.
No, he's not that.
It does to me.
No.
I'm a reader.
He's not irresponsible.
I'm reading it just like you are.
He's not irresponsible at all. But if they lose this series, you can talk about Westbrook shooting too much. You can talk about Scott Brooks having a failed plan. But ultimately, it falls on the best player.
Then why did the editor say it's apparent we failed?
You know, I can't speak for the Oklahoman, and neither can you. I can't.
I don't have to. He spoke for him. His words. Tony, the Lakers found out how to get back in the news in Los Angeles without scandal or playing a game. But it did take Mike D'Antoni's resignation and the wild speculation now rampant about his successor. The names John Calipari, Kevin Ollie, and drumroll, Tom Thibodeau.
Your boy.
They're already in play. So you know the list of candidates is going to be 5 times longer than this.
Yes.
What way do you think the Lakers should go?
I'm just going to say this first. I know you're not going to say it, and you're probably not going to agree with it. But Magic Johnson, who I like very, very much, tweeted something out, quote, happy days are here again. Mike D'Antoni resigns as Lakers coach. I couldn't be happier. And that's a slam. That's a personal slam, and I think that's beneath Magic. I think Magic's a lot better than that. You don't have to even deal with it unless you want to. In terms of the coaches that have been named so far, Thibodeau is intriguing because he's a professional coach. Though his team failed miserably in the playoffs against the Wizards, he speaks to defense. D'Antoni's teams had no defense. I sort of wonder, is that how you get people to go to games in L.A. with defense? But it's an intriguing name.
It's an intriguing name because of the success he's had there, and sometimes without most of his players, certainly his best ones, just like the Lakers didn't have that as well. But, Tony, there are going to be so many names that come up with this. I don't know which way. Apparently, they're going to wait until after the draft, okay? And it's going to be a situation where you even want to get some sense from potential free agents as to who they might come to L.A. if they think they can play for.
Yes.
Now, that's a lot in play when you start saying to players potentially, okay, we're willing to have you, and if you want to whisper in our ear who you might play for. I don't have any faith, Tony, in the Lakers under Jimmy Buss to get this right. If Jimmy Buss is the guy who's driving the train on this selection,
I know you don't like him.
I'm skeptical.
I thought of George Karl because of his connection with Mitch Kupchak, because they were teammates at North Carolina, because he's coached in the West, because he wants to coach again. I will tell you I'm intrigued by Kevin Ollie for this regard, that he played with Kevin Durant. To your point about who might sign up in 2 years, he played with Kevin Durant at Oklahoma City. Kevin Durant praises him all the time. They're going to have a lot of money in 2 years. Maybe you get Kevin Durant, and maybe your boys at the Oklahoman write Mr. Arrivederci because he's out the door and he's going somewhere else. I think all those things are in play. And the other thing that's in play, Mike, is you can't lose the battle of the front page or the back page to the Clippers the way they're doing on the court and even off the court. It's a terrible context what happened with the Clippers this week, but it sucks the air out of the Lakers as well, doesn't it?
Tony, not only that, I've been in L.A. this week. It's like the first time that the Lakers that I can remember in a basketball context have just been irrelevant. And you know how they hate that.
Yes.
This would be like George Steinbrenner when he was alive having the Yankees, for any reasons, yes, even scandalous ones, overshadowed by the Mets. They don't much like that.
We now move to the Nets and Raptors. Last night, the Nets made up a 26-point deficit. They were in position to win the game late. Down 3 with 4.9 seconds left. Andre Bloch, who was in the game instead of Paul Pierce, he was fouled. He made the first. Then down 2, he missed the next free throw. He rushed to get his own rebound, but instead of turning to the basket for a potential tie, Bloch dribbled to the three-point line and then threw the ball wildly into the backcourt. Game over. Wilbon, do you put this loss on Bloch or on Jason Kidd for leaving him in there?
Neither. I mean, Bloch scored 7 points, I think, in the fourth quarter, Tony, and he was part of the reason, a big part of the reason, that the Nets were able to come back.
Yes.
I mean, they're down 20.
Agreed.
I'll blame the stars. I'll blame the starters. What are they doing down 20 at home to the Raptors? I'm not saying this is like being down to Atlanta like Indy's been by 30, but, I mean, you're at home and you basically worked your way into position so you could get the Raptors, and now you're trailing them by 20 at home. So I'm going to blame the starters. I'm going to blame their star players. And I thought Jason Kidd did a good job. You know this, Tony. We know coaches who say, no. I'm going to go with the players who got me back in the game and stay with them. I got no problem with that theory.
That's fine, but the Raptors were at home. I mean, it was the Raptors who built the big lead.
That's right. But they still, I'm saying, they shouldn't be 20 behind the Raptors.
No, and I think people underrate the Raptors, and they underrate Lowry and DeRozan. The wild thing to me was the end of that game. If that's not a backcourt violation, then you have a goaltend on the big guy.
A 3-point goaltend.
And that may be the most bizarre ending ever in basketball if that happens, don't you think?
Yes.
That would have been crazy.
No, there were some weird things in that game. Andre Bloch, who, by the way, when he was at the Wizards, was part of the biggest problem team you've ever seen.
Unreliable.
He is Tony, and he's been a successful reclamation project.
Yes.
So I'm happy to take shots at Bloch normally, but not last night, given how he helped them get back in that game. Out of 3 Game 7s in the NHL last night, the sexiest had to be the Los Angeles Kings coming back again to beat the Sharks 5-1 in San Jose. Not only did the Kings come back from a 1-goal deficit in the second period, but they became just the 4th team in league history to come back from 3 games to none to win a series. So, Tony, do you come to praise the plucky Kings or bury the choking Sharks?
I think you know where I'm going on this.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to bury the Sharks. I mean, these are chokes. Like the Washington Capitals are choking dogs, and they've been doing it for a long time. But they never choked like this. They were never up 3-0 in games.
Just 3-1 a bunch of times.
Yes, and never lost 4 in a row when up 3-0. This team scored 17 goals in the first 3 games, right? And 5 in the next 4. I know you want to praise the winners, but
I want to praise
it's a classic choke. It's classic.
It's a classic choke, although we've seen it happen more in the NHL than any other sport.
4
Once
times.
in baseball, the Red Sox over the Yankees.
75 years.
No times in the NBA, interestingly enough, Tone. And the NHL, you see threats of it. Teams come back from 3-0 to go to 3-3, it seems all the time. But you know a hot goaltender, and Quick has been that before because he's won a Stanley Cup. A hot goaltender can change a series like nothing else in professional sports, it seems. So I think there's some room to praise the Kings here. You have to demonstrate some fortitude and some resilience just to get off the floor when you're down 3-0, right?
Well, I'm going to give some hope to the San Jose Sharks because the last time this happened, again, only 4 times in 75 years.
The
2010, the Bruins, who the next year won the Cup.
Yeah.
So you take that as solace. Let's take a break. Coming up, Brian Windhorst on how Kevin Durant really feels about being used as a decoy and being called Mr. Unreliable.
And later, our Pacers, Hawks, Clippers, Warriors prediction.
I've been hot lately, but maybe not now. I've been hot. The Thunder are 1 loss away from a first-round exit and a long off-season. Here to preview their must-win game tonight in Memphis is our main man, Brian Windhorst. Let me start with this. Kevin Durant said he did not have a problem with the Mr. Unreliable headline. You're there. Do you think that's true? Do you think he's telling the truth?
No, I don't. And I don't think he was telling the truth the other day when he said he doesn't have a problem being a decoy in the fourth quarter of close playoff games either. But I do think it's a politically correct thing to say on the day of an elimination game or when you're in the middle of a series and you're down 3-2 like the Thunder are. You don't want to focus on that. But this has been a distraction. The Thunder had to issue a statement today. Sam Presti putting out a statement, and it was a terrific statement. He said, I thought Kevin Durant was pretty reliable to the citizens of Moore, Oklahoma, last year after they had tornadoes when he donated $1 million. And that's a terrific comeback and is absolutely true. Kevin Durant is reliable when it comes to that. But the fact that the organization is dealing with this here in Memphis, when you've got a really difficult game tonight, it's just not a good precedent to set and sort of just shows you that the Thunder are feeling the heat right now. They realize that they're on the cusp of probably the greatest failure since they've been in the NBA, and it's rising under their collars a little bit.
Brian, I think it's a pretty dumb precedent to set to use Kevin Durant as a decoy, which, of course, you were there and covered and pointed out in Game 5. I mean, was that really Scott Brooks' plan? When did it arise? And has he acknowledged he needs to ditch it?
Well, we're watching this game, and, Durant hits a three-pointer to complete a run to give them the lead. And then by my count, I don't think he touched the ball for 7 possessions, and I don't think he shot for 13 possessions. And how you can go 13 straight possessions in the fourth quarter of a game when Kevin Durant doesn't touch the ball. And we had to ask about that. And they said after the game, listen, in certain situations, he's going to be a decoy in the corner. He's going to stretch the defense, space the floor. And my mouth dropped open. I was actually looking around in that press room to see if the other media were as stunned as I was, or I misheard that Kevin Durant was being used as a decoy. Now, on certain situations, when there may be an individual play, you may run a single play where he's a decoy. But come on, if you're going to go out, if you're going to get upset in the playoffs, you're going to go out with the MVP of the league shooting 10 of 35. And if he goes 10 of 35, you live with it. But you don't go out with him, standing in the corner.
Well, let me go to that for a second. Kevin Durant's the MVP of the league. He's a veteran in the league. He didn't get here last week. He knows he's the best player on the team. Why doesn't he demand the ball? Why doesn't he say, oh, wait a second, give me the ball? Michael Jordan would do that.
Yeah, what would Kobe Bryant do? I think it's, if you look at a pie chart of what Kevin Durant has to deal with in his life, in his basketball life, I'd wonder what percentage of it is to appease Russell Westbrook or to keep teammates from wanting to go after Russell Westbrook, because playing with him has got to be maddening. And it's emotionally, draining. I mean, this is a guy who can be brilliant at times. He can just make breathtaking plays. But at the same time, within the same game, he can make your team behind because he's hogging the ball and taking shots. And just managing the Westbrook relationship is such an important part of what Kevin Durant does. And that's what part of this is. So if he's told under a certain set on a certain play, he's got to go stand in the corner so Westbrook can operate and play pick and roll, he does it. He's been doing that for years, and he believes that in the long run, the two of them will lead them to a title. And we're seeing that tested right now, and it has not been going well in this series.
He takes 31 shots in a game, and Kevin Durant takes 7 fewer. Is this just an elephant in the room? Do they not talk about it? You are with this team now for a while. What are they going to do about that dynamic?
Well, right now the Grizzlies are encouraging it. Their game plan is let Westbrook shoot. And I think even when he makes it, they're over on their bench, giving each other low fives underneath so nobody can see every time Westbrook puts up a shot and Durant doesn't. And you can just see it. The numbers show it. In Game 5, just for example, Durant took 24 shots, okay? 22 of those were contested. Westbrook took 31 shots. 13 of them were uncontested. Now, some of those are going to be fast breaks. But generally, you can just see by that number alone, you can see who the Grizzlies are paying more attention to. And it's working. And, you know, after the game, we asked Westbrook about this, and he said, listen, if I have an open 15-footer, I'm going to take it because I'm going to make it 9 out of 10 times. Well, in Game 5, he was 3 of 17 outside the paint. So, no, you're not going to make it 9 out of 10 times. And that's the thing they're playing into. It's well known in the league that Russell Westbrook is going to take advantage of open spaces, and he's going to just jack the ball. And what drives people crazy is that he will jack a shot with 16 on the shot clock. That's not what a point guard's supposed to do. But the Thunder have had a lot of success playing this way, and they are committed to it, and Durant is committed to it. So he does things like say with a straight face, well, if I want the ball in the half court, I guess I have to rebound and bring it up on my own. He said that after Game 5. And I was like, you're telling me in the second half of the fourth quarter or overtime of a playoff game that's 2-2 that the only way you can get the ball is to get the rebound and bring it up? I mean, that just says the way he sort of appeases it. And he's had a lot of success doing it. But right here you see that under pressure, when it really matters, you can sometimes get to this team. It's their weakness. And the Grizzlies have put that in their game plan, and it's gotten them a 3-2 lead.
Let's look ahead a few hours, Brian, to tonight. Is Kevin Durant going to be able to get Oklahoma City a win and stay in this series? Do you see them winning tonight, and do you see Oklahoma City winning this series?
I mean, I think the Thunder are going to win tonight, but this series has gone 4 straight overtime games. I mean, it's just a guess. It's too narrow of a between these two teams. What I will say is this: if you're going to go out, if you're going to take the MVP trophy next week while you're eliminated, which was one of the worst things Dirk Nowitzki had to go through in his career. He had to go to Australia, go hiking for a month because it so mentally damaged him. If you're going to take that trophy next week and you're going to sit around all summer being the MVP that got eliminated in the first round, you better go out with it in your hands. You better be the one that's taking the shots behind me here and deciding it on the floor. Don't let any teammate, I don't care how good your teammate is, I don't care if he's an all-star or what your coach says, you be the one. And so tonight, I want to see Durant take the destiny into his hands, and if he's going to lose, at least go down fighting.
Brian, that was great. As always, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brian. Have fun tonight.
We're taking a break.
All right, we will. Take care, guys.
When we come back, a frisky Raptors fan gets denied.
And Vince Young has the job. My man Vince. Your boy Torts, not so much, Tony.
No, but Torts will end up with a job somewhere, because he always does.
Maybe he'll be in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, maybe he could demand the ball after Durant leaves and goes to the Lakers. Happy time, people. Happy 27th birthday, Amir Johnson. Last night, the Toronto forward became at least the 6th different person in these first-round playoffs to foul a shooter on a made three-point shot, creating the opportunity for a 4-point play. This is unbearably stupid. And in Johnson's case, he fouled someone named Alan Anderson. What on earth are you doing that for? But happy birthday.
Tony, there's so many of these. I saw this happen with Steph Curry here in down in Los Angeles the other night. Is it that defenses are that aggressive now, or referees calling it more? There's some dynamic going on.
Crazy. Happy anniversary, New York Rangers. On this day 22 years ago, you won your first ever Game 7, winning at home against the Devils. Last night, the Rangers improved to 6-0 all-time in Game 7s at Madison Square Garden as they beat the Philadelphia Flyers to reach the second round and a matchup with the favored Pittsburgh Penguins.
Equal time for the Midwest, Tony. The Wild beat the Avalanche in Colorado in overtime last night. Wild Blackhawks next up.
Happy trails to this kiss. With the Raptors ahead by 3 points late, the young man on your left leaned in for a victory smooch. Sadly for him, the girl next to him was having nothing of it and leaned back like Floyd Mayweather, avoiding a combination. Everyone who shows this video makes fun of the guy. I feel bad for him. Hang in there, Sparky.
You feel bad for him. When you feel bad for him, if that was your daughter and just happened to be sitting there with a ticket you bought her and some goof leans in to kiss her, would you feel bad for him then?
No, now that you put it that way,
Yeah,
I have to
context.
say that I wouldn't.
Context. Thank you very much.
Trying to find out we messed up reality.
I was going to say, you guys overlooked the Wild's Game 7 overtime win. Wilbon, you snuck it in there. Does the name Nino Niederreiter mean anything to you? The El Nino with the game-winning goal in overtime. Jeff Zilk at USA Today is reporting early word is that the Bulls will remind the Lakers if they reach out to Thibodeau, he's still under contract and not available.
That's
Just
fair.
throwing it
They
out
do
there.
that. Here we go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
The Rockets held DeMarcus Aldridge to 8 points in winning Game 5. Is there hope for the Rockets?
There is, but, you know, they got to play in Portland tomorrow night in another must-watch game. The Canucks fired your boy John Tortorella after just one season. Is that fair, Tony?
It may be fair, but it's very expensive. They gave him a 5-year deal and fired him after
Why
one.
bring him in if you're just going to can him after a season? That's crazy.
Browns signed Vince Young today. Does he have anything left?
I don't know, Tony, but I root for Vince Young. I hope he does. He had a promising career at one point. I hope he can somehow find it and get it back on track. Pacers-Hawks, Game 6 tonight. Are the Hawks going to put the Pacers out of their and our misery?
Everything points to that, Mike. I cannot bring myself to pick against the Pacers here after what I saw all year. I got to think they got right. Don't you think they have something?
At some point, we got to give up on them. They've done this to themselves.
Last one, Clippers-Warriors, Game 6 tonight. You're there. Will the Clippers close it out on the road?
You know, Tone, I think the Dubs at home with 18,000 screaming maniacs. I can't wait to get there. It's a wonderful playoff atmosphere. I think we might be going back for Game 7 in Los Angeles Saturday.
The Dubs. Did everybody hear that? The Dubs. We're out of time. Try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. Check out the PTI podcast on iTunes.
Ryan Foley, shout out.
When it comes to mailing and shipping, there just aren't a lot of good choices. You could go to the post office, but that takes up too much time. You could lease a postage meter, but that's too expensive. Luckily, there's a better way. Stamps.com. With Stamps.com, you can buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter or package right from your desk using your own computer and printer. You'll even get special postage discounts you can't find at the post office. And with Stamps.com, you get more features than a postage meter at a fraction of the cost. And right now, you can get this special offer from Stamps.com when you use promo code PTI. A no-risk trial, plus a $110 bonus offer that includes a digital scale and up to $55 free postage. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com, and before you do anything else, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in PTI. That's Stamps.com, promo code PTI.
What makes the Indy 500 the greatest spectacle in racing?
Michael Morgan!
We are green! Everyone in the grandstands are on their feet.
You're now the winner of the Indianapolis 500, my friend.
The Indianapolis 500, Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on ABC.